we're going to be looking at how to carry out mass changes on functional location. All right. And when we talk about mass changing on functional location, I want us to first take note of this. All right. There are certain aspects of the functional location that you can change with this particular method. And when we talk about the structure of the functional location, we cannot use this method. So take note of that. You can't use this method to make changes on the structure of your functional location. I previously shared a PDF file where I talked about using alternative labeling for changing of your functional location structure. But we cannot use the alternative labeling for changing of functional location for changing of more than one functional locations. All right, we can't make use of that method. So I'm still trying to figure out what particular transaction that we can be able to make use of aside alternative labeling for least functional locations. So if you have an idea on the transactions to use to make massive changes on the functional location structure, please drop on the comment section for us to also learn. But the essence of this video is to teach us how to change other fields of your functional location using mass changing. And the fields that we can change using these are fields like the organizational data or probably the location data. All right, which also includes the work centers, maintenance planning plans. So these are what we can change using this method. So having understood this, let's forge ahead. Now I have attached snipes of what I want us to look at here. Now we can see image 1. First of all, when we have a list of functional location, the transaction that you have to make use of is the change functional location list. So we have two changes. We have the change functional location and we also have the change functional location list. The difference between the two is that the first transaction, change functional location, is used when you want to make changes on just one functional location. For the list, it is used when you want to make changes for more than one functional location. Now, when you look at image 1, after you have executed your change functional location list, I'll be dropping the transaction code on the comment section as well, so you can check the comment section for the transaction code. When we have executed the change functional location list, this is what it looks like. For image 1, it looks like this, okay? And if we look at image 1, we can see that we have two boxes. We have this box to this box. It means that it can permit more than one functional location. But if we are using the other transaction, we only have one box here, which denotes just one functional location. Now, for us to start this, there is an icon at this area. This icon is used to paste all of those functional locations. Now, let's assume you have two functional locations that you want to make changes to. You're going to click on this icon. Pay attention carefully and follow me. You would click on this icon. Now, when you've clicked on this icon, it takes you to image 2, where we have multiple selection for functional location. Okay. Now we have these blank spaces here for single values. Now those functional locations that you want to make changes to, you would have to copy all of them. You could move them to an Excel sheet and then you copy them. When you've copied this functional location, you paste them here. So when it has been pasted, it appears at this space. So when you have pasted it there, it takes you execute it from that. After pasting it, You see the executing button on that and you execute. It takes you to image 3. Now on image 3, this is what it looks like. Okay, so let's assume that these are the 2 functional locations that you want to make changes to. Automatically it takes you to this page. All right, so what you do when you get here, listen, is to click on this icon. So this icon is used to highlight. You want to highlight all, just like your Control A on Excel. All right, so when you click on this icon, it highlights everything here. Having clicked on this icon, on top of your SAP header, you have something like this. You have the extra, have the go-to, the structure, environment, settings, and what have you. So all of these are always arranged on top of this header here. I just sniped it, so that's why we can't see it here. All right, so you click on go to right here on the header. You click on go to. After you've clicked on go to, it displays a list for you to select. Now you go to carry out a mass change. Now while we are using carry out a mass change is because we want to make mass changes. We are making changes to more than one functional location. So take notes, you have to first highlight this, and after highlighting, you click on the go to on your SAP header, and after clicking on the go to, you click on carry out a mass change. Okay, now when you have clicked on carry out a mass change, it takes you to image 4. Now on image 4, it takes you to image 4. Okay, and then before it takes you to this image 4, you would have a page that displays showing you these 3 datas. Because like I said previously, these are the 3 datas that you can make changes to using this change functional location mass change. Okay, so these are the only datas you can make change to. You cannot make change to structure, so you're not going to find structure there. Now when you click on location data, you're going to have image 4. After you have clicked on location data, you have image 4. All right, let's assume that what you want to make changes to is the location data. So when you click on it, you have this image. But if peradventure what you want to make changes on is your organizational data, you have image 5. So assuming those 2 functional locations you want to make changes to, possibly maybe one of the machines had a indicator before, which signifies a high machine. All right, so it's having high impacts. Okay, and possibly you want to change that particular indicator to B, which is medium. You know that you have to click on the location data because the ABC indicator is found in the location data. Or maybe the location of the machine had been changed. Maybe when the functional location was created, we imputed the location A, and then this machine is then moved from location A to location B. All right, and you want to change that on your functional location, so you know that you have to go to the location data. What if you want to change the work center? Possibly the work center has changed and you want to effect the change on the functional location. You still have to go to your location data. All right, what if you want to make changes on the planner group? You should know that your main work center, your planner groups, WBS elements, they are all found in the organizational data. So for the case of this tutorial, we want to assume that we are making changes to the work center. Now, because we're making changes to work center, I am going to click on the location data it takes me to image 4. And then this is my work center here. So what I'm going to do is to move this work center from the pool. This is the pool area. So I'm going to move this work center from the pool to the selection criteria. And how do I do that? I would first start with ticking this box where my work center is, and I'm going to use this arrow. And this arrow means that I am moving one field from the pool to the selection area. What if I want to make changes to all of this? I would have to tick all of these boxes, and I would make use of this double arrow. The double arrow here means that I am moving all of this field entirely from the pool to the selection criteria. So let's assume we are making changes to the work center. I will tick this, and I will click on this single arrow to move it to the selection criteria. Now my work center has been moved from the pool to the selection criteria. We can see it over here on image 6. Having done this, I would click on this green button, this green tick, which is enter. So when I click on enter, it takes me to image 7, which is the field view. Now from this field view, we are still under location data, all right? We can see new value and replace only. All right, so I'm going to indicate the new work center that I want to change. If it's the ABC indicator, I would indicate the new ABC indicator. If it's the location, I will indicate the new location. If it's the room, I indicate the new room. If it's the sort field, I indicate the new sort field. But for this case, we are changing the work center. So I am going to indicate a new value for work center here. Having done that, I would execute, and this is my execute button over here. I would execute, and it takes me to image 8. Now in image 8, a warning sign or a warning image pops up. Now this warning image is trying to tell you that whatever changes that you make right now, the action cannot be undone. It means that if I successfully change that work center, I cannot be able to change it. So it's just one change. When I change it, I can't be able to undo whatever it is that I have changed. So if I have accepted that, yes, I want to save my changes, I will click on the enter button over here, and it takes me to image 9. My image 9 is my log display. Now what this log display does is to show you the date at which that new change was made, and also to tell you if your changes was successful or not. Now if your changes were successful, you would see a successful here. All right, if your changes was not successful, you will see a not done here. And I'll give you instances that your changes might not be successful. Now when you are changing fields like your planner groups, your work centers, your planning plans, there's something that you need to pay attention to. Now there are certain times that we want to change this work center and it gives us not successful here. All right, you don't need to panic. I would explain what that means and how to maneuver. So let's dive into what you will do when you face situations like that, when you are trying to change your work centers or maybe your planning plans. Probably you want to change it and you have that error pop up. Let's see what to do. Now before then, I want to quickly explain something, and there's something called the data origin list. Okay, the data origin list. Now in the insertion, when you are trying to create your functional location, we are aware of how to create a functional location. All right, so I already have a video on how to create a functional location, and I'm going to attach it right here, so that in case you don't know how to create a functional location, you can watch the video. Now, when you're creating a functional location, SAP gives you two options. All right. Now, the first option SAP gives you is, do you want to copy the data that are already in the superior flock? Now, when I mean datas, there are some certain datas like the work centers, the main work center, planning plans, right? So it's going to ask you, do you want to copy data from the superior flock? Okay, or do you want to maintain these data individually? Now, when they say maintain this data individually, it means you manually imputing these data on SAP yourself. So you have to choose either you are maintaining individually or you want to copy the data from superior flock. Now, copying the data from superior flock saves you some stress because you don't need to start individually imputing it. It's auto. Every data that has been attached to the superior flock is automatically replicated in the new functional location that you're creating. So obviously you do not have any data that has been lost. All right, but when you want to cause a change, when you want to change these data, like you want to change your work center, or you want to change your planning plans, then you begin to have some issues. And the issues that you have is that you would definitely have to go and change that particular setting from you copying the data from a superior flock to being maintained individually. Because if not, you're going to have that pop-up message, that error message saying that your changes was not successful. So the first thing you're going to do is to first go to the data origin list. Now, the data origin list is a list that contains data that were copied from the superior functional location and data that were maintained individually. So if you have a functional location, okay, if you have one functional location like this, all right, and you open up the data origin list, okay, it tells you which data that were maintained individually and data that were copied from the superior functional location. All right, so let's assume I am already having that error message while changing my work center, like we had already done. All right, so what I'm going to do is to copy the supposedly said functional location that I want to change the work center. All right, so if you have a list, of course we are dealing with lists. So if you have a list, you could just copy all of the functional location and go to change functional location list. But for the case of this example, I used only one functional location. So I'm using the change functional location master data. All right, if you input this on your search, you would obviously see it. Now, when you've inputted your functional location, you're going to go to data origin. All right, you're going to click this data origin and it takes you to image 11. Now, this is the data origin list. Now, this data origin list, you can see that this data origin list is giving us some different fields. All right, these are fields that normally you can input manually, like I said, or you could replicate what had been created in the superior functional location in your new functional location that you are creating. So let's look at this list together. On that functional location that I just placed, this list is trying to tell me that maintenance plant was copied from the superior functional location. The location was copied from the superior functional location, but the room was manually maintained. So it means for the room we didn't copy, we just imputed manually. Okay, the plant section was copied from the superior, the work center, the superior, the ABC was maintained individually, and then the address number was copied from the superior functional location. Now, for some of us that don't know what a superior functional location is, when I have this functional location, this is a 5-level functional location, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the superior functional location for this 5-level functional location is 1, 2, 3.
So like I explained in the video that I created on how to create a functional location, I'm still going to attach the link. You would see that for every structure, each of the levels are attached under each other. Like this 5-level flock is attached on the 4-level, 4-level attached on the 3-level, 3-level attached on the 2-level, 2-level attached on 1-level. So each of these has a superior flock. All right, so the superior flock for this it will be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I'm going to copy any data, this planning plant alone, my planning plant alone contains data. All right, and if I'm maintaining the data in this particular planning plant, it means that every other thing that I am creating, data maintained here will be replicated for this. Okay, so when we say superior flock, it is the flock that is superior over the next level of flock, the next structure. So if I have 5-level, my superior flock should be the flock before this level. All right, so in this case I have superior flock 1, 2, 3, 4 FRETGY. So it means that every data inside of this will be replicated for this one, depending if I want to, because you can also maintain it that way. So from here we can see these fields that were maintained manually and the ones that were, and what we want to change is the work center, right? Yeah, I think what we want to change is the work center. And then you can see that the work center was not maintained manually. All right, it was replicated from a superior functional location. So this is the reason why we have that error message pop up. So what we're going to do is to go back to the change. So when you click here, you're going to see change data origin. Okay, and this is image 12 would pop up. So you can see that you have the opportunity to change. So I'm going to quickly just click on individual maintenance. All right, I don't want any replication, I just want it individually. Okay, so I'm just going to click here and I'm going to tick this, and automatically it changes. So having done this, I can now go back to my mass change. You're going to then repeat what you tried to do over here, and it takes you here. You change your work center like I explained, and then it gives you warning as usual, and by this time you should be having a successful at this place. All right, so it is still the same step. If you want to change planning plans, all right, you want to change any particular field except for the structure, okay, you can go through this method. And if you have an error message, you have to quickly go to the data origin list to see which fields were maintained individually and which was copied from the superior functional location. After changing, then you can go back. So I hope you found this lesson very helpful. All right, so please leave your questions on comment sections or contributions on your comment sections concerning this lesson. Thank you.